Hey, the CA Inter exam is very close and have come up with a planner for CA intermediate students, which will cover the full preparation plus full final lab revision within a one system because this is built to clear with a buffer. Buffer is in the sense is 50-55 plus marks you can score by following this guide. And because this doesn't come with a prayer and all of that, with a prayer that you expect to clear, it comes with a preparation where you are expected to target above the buffer and then you reach that buffer instead of getting the borderline marks for clearing. So hope you get this. Buffer in the sense is 50-55 marks and borderline is just pass of 40 marks. So you should be targeting above the buffer line. So the CA Inter command guide I'll be just sharing you to the video, which is a recorded session, which you can stay tuned and watch. But I'll guide you through each of the phases that how you need to prepare for each of the sections. So stay tuned and watch the video.
Here we go. Now this is CA Catalyst prepared CA Inter Command Planner. As you can see, as I told you in the start of the video, that this is full preparation guide plus final revision lab, final lab revision. This is in one system. This will help you clear with a buffer that is 50-55% plus marks where you're targeting it. Okay, as I said, this is including 6 papers, 2 groups where it is 70% of descriptive marks and 30 is for MCQs. Now, before we start off, I want to just inform the students that you are appearing for September 2026. They should refer this only for the final revision, final lab revision, how that needs to be done. They must simply focus on that part. Well, the students appearing after September 2026, they can focus on the full preparation part initially and then on the final revision. That will help so that it becomes very clear that the students appearing for 2026 should only target how the final revision would go in one place. So this sheet will help you in one place, that the system that you need to follow. So the target is to build the buffer. Buffer is like 50-55% plus, and that will help you get through. So here we go. The first thing that you need to know is that the new scheme that is decoded, that is, before you plan, understand how the CA intermediate preparation that you need to do. I know that this is not for the September 2026, they have already know it. For the new upcoming students, they need to focus here that the exams are held like 3 times a year, where every paper is 100 marks and 3 hours split for 70 marks for descriptive and 30 for case study MCQs. Now the pass mark here is 40% for each paper and 50% across the group. Now the groups are judged independently. What do you mean by that? No, group in independently check ചെയ്യുന്നത്. Okay, and 60% in a paper can earn a exemption. So judge independently means how they are checking the marks. They don't know like overall picture of a student, but when they judge, that means a passing rate in a group you have to cross 200 marks. So that's the intention. And 60% in a paper can earn an exemption. An exemption, as you all know, if you get an exemption, you need not appear that paper for 3 attempts. So you can keep that exemption, and meanwhile you should be trying to clear with the maximum marks that is required for an individual group. Hope this is clear to you. Okay, now what is the rule is, now 30 marks MCQ in every paper, there is no negative marking. This is an important thing. So what is the intention behind it? Why did I show it here? Reason being, the MCQs should never be left blank, but there are case study based, so you can't guess your way. Okay, it is the same concept as the descriptive half. What you have learned in the descriptive, that the same thing would apply over here. So what you have to do is that while preparing, prepare the concept. Wherever your topic, whatever descriptive question, whatever you are learning, write down the concept, what has been understood in each of the descriptive answer, each of the topics that you know, as a 1-liner, 2-liner, 3-liner max. You have to prepare the concept notes. Now here is the important thing, you have to prepare a concept notes, and this concept note will help you in your MCQ answers. Now the other thing, when you start preparing the MCQ or the concept notes, the second thing that you have to refer is the study mat, where at the end of the chapter there is a conceptualized note. Okay, that will also help you in understanding the concept. Try to match up with that institute study material concept notes, or the conceptualized notes over there at the last, so that you are running across all of the concept and you are capturing all of those. Okay, that is the first thing. Now 40%, 50% to pass. Now 40% is where for an individual subject to pass, 40 marks, and 50% is required when you have to clear the whole of the group. Now that's the floor, that's not the target. Okay, floor in the sense that is the basic that has been required. Now you need to target above, that is aim for the buffer that is roughly 55 to 60. So the hard question is, the moderation judgment can't sink you, because how they are going to do the adjustment or judging your answers, it's not in your hand. So you should clear by a margin. higher margin 55. So you should be always preparing with your target of 50 to 60 marks. That is how you'll be able to clear. Now the two combined papers for income tax, for example, income tax plus GST plus financial management and strategic management, this is where the students sabotage preparing one half and hoping the other. Okay, you should not be doing that. But both halves are important. You have to attend mock test papers, as well as every revision that you do should be combined for each of this. You should not be target only income tax, only GST. You should not be going with that. Combine the paper in two subject, wearing it as one cover, and that is what will help you clear. Okay, no internal set off between groups. That means if it is in a one group, okay, if it's a one group, and if you are short in an individual group itself and you have scored a higher mark, maybe an exemption in 60 and less mark in another subject, so the individual groups marks will not be allowed to set off between each other. Okay, so for more clarity, if I explain, if in an group you have scored 200 plus 250, and in a second group you have scored just 198, but in 198, so the marks need in a second group is just 2 marks. Okay, so subject wise you have cleared in second group, so you just can set off the individual groups marks to the second group. This is how set off works, but within an individual group you will not be allowed to set off. So this is how the new scheme or the CA pattern has been set for CA intermediate as well as CA final. Okay, now let's get into the study system. The second thing is the study system, how you need to go. There are 4 moves for each of the subject. First 3 builds the knowledge, first 3 will build the knowledge, and the fourth one is just for the planners. Okay, that will help you score the marks. Okay, let's focus on the knowledge. So you have to map things. Okay, you cannot bluntly open a study mat or a book and start reading it and you finish it off and then you'll score marks, you go for an exam. No, it doesn't work that way. Before reading a chapter, you have to build a skeleton map where the section number is, what is the title. You'll just roughly, you can make an handwritten one, or you can get a printed one where section number is there, what is the title, okay, what is the provision. Just 1 or 2 lines you have to mention, because you have to be well versed with what is the section number and what is the section that has been gone. Every format, formula, every essay number, title, audit title, you need to know that. All of this should be mapped for each of the subject that you are appearing. Now why this will work is that instead of referring to this 800 page module or 1000 page module, this will not become your revision material. To make a revision material for each of this subject, you should have a map, or you can call it as an index, where it's a 1 or 3 page or max 4 page revision sheet where you will write all of these things, and you can revise it in a matter of 40-45 minutes. Okay, so one title and one provision. Title and provision, what does it show? This will help you stay in the long run and memorize and revise it at the very last stage. Okay, that is mapping. Second move is build. Read one provision, understand fully, immediately solve the past question papers, RTP, MTP relating to that concept. So whenever you write a provision, the index concept, at the alongside in an index, you should refer to the question number that you should refer to, or the number of question like 1, 2, 3, 4. These all question number, when you solve at the last day, it will help you. Okay, these are the question number which will refer to this provision. I need to solve that way. Okay, which RTP I should refer, which MTP should I refer for this question. So you should make that log the gaps, and what is your understanding on that, and what is thing that you have to revise number of times. All these things you can mention in that same log. Okay, so map it, then build a log like for the concept, and in that concept what are the questions that will help you clear this concept, that you have to refer. And out of this, which is the most important one for the last day revision, you can mark that, so that in the exam day, last day, you just have to refer to these number of questions, or the number of questions. Like if the total there are 7 questions relating to that one provision, okay, you have to solve just 3 out of this, which will cover maximum provision and understanding. So reading entire thing and writing reinforces. Okay, so you need to questions that expose the traps, heights. So at the exemption level, understanding is built. You need not reread entirely on the last day of revision. Hope this understands. So you just need to refer to those last day revision questions that you need to know. And that question should have the working notes, the explanation, assumption, recommendation, conclusion, all of this written. Write it in your mapping sheet as well. You should be following these steps while writing the exam. Hope you understood. I'm repeating again, the working notes, the assumption can be one way or two way. You have to write both. You are referring to which paper, you should which concept or which assumption, you write that, and the other assumption, if you take, what can be the answer, in just one line you have to refer to that. So anywhere you remember, whenever you are making an assumption. There are two assumptions to this, and I am choosing this assumption. You need to write there in the exam. Hope this is clear. As well as the recommendation and conclusion should also be mentioned at the last of the paper when you conclude the answer. Third point is retrieve. Now revise from the skeleton. This will help you because it will help you understand, okay, this is the provision, this is the question that I need to refer, what all things I need to refer to. You can explain yourself loudly, teaching yourself, and what are errors you faced, wherever mistake you have conducted, you can all log that and go and recheck. Okay, this is place where I have done the mistake, I need to refer to that and go and recheck them again. Maybe weekly when you are referring to this log, this sheet, which is hardly 1 2 3 page or 4 page maximum, this will help you read it. So brain keeps on retrieving what is the track, where am I losing, which day you are revising this, what all provision you have completed, what are the question related to this provision that I have tracked. This will help you. You can't recall today completely everything, exactly what you need to fix. So this will, when you study in a long run, at the last day of revision, when you will take up this page, it will be a clear index that will speed up the process. Whatever you want to do new or you want to fix something, it can be referred from this sheet. Fourth one, the very final one and very important thing that will convert into the knowledge, that whatever you have studied in 1 2 3 will help you convert to marks. Write for how it is marked. That means whatever you have studied, you need to write it in point wise. Cite the section. When you write the point, you should be clearly mentioning what is the heading, what is the subheading, what is the keywords, because this is what you are continuously learning. Okay, for this, or even though it is steps, I would not say if it is 100% perfect, but at least if you write in this manner, you are taking the marks, you are scoring marks. So cite the section. Cite means mention the section, mention the essay number, mention the accounting standard, show the working notes. Why did you make this working note? That means assumption. What all assumption more can be there, you write there. What is the heading, what is the format, you use this. Okay, and plus every MCQ needs to be attempted. So when the paper is scanned and marked on the screen, and when they see this stepwise and they see the keywords marked in it, students, believe me, the examiner can give you the good marks. The marks starts to flow. It is not like the person who have scored first rank. It's not like he has copy pasted everything 100%. No, the skeleton, the mannerism in which he writes, due to this you will be scoring, and that is what you have to exploit. You need to take that. So who scored it can score 20 marks just by the presentation. 20 marks is not in one answer, it's like overall question paper, you can score 20 marks. So this is the catalyst edge that I have brought in here in this sheet. Please refer to this and score high. The third one is high ROI priority map. Now you can't give every chapter like equal weightage. So for weightage also, you can download the institute material and decide on what is the weightage of past question. Okay, and past question that has been asked, yes, that is definitely high certainty areas and all. You can take that and accordingly start with each subject in the row. Like paper 1, advanced accounting, what is the highest attack or highest yield and certainty that has been asked here. Always start with that whenever you are revising, as well as you're starting your studies also. Revising, even though if it is the last day of revision, you should be focusing on these areas of high yield and certainty, because it will score you more. Okay, so the first attack that you have to do for group 1 advanced accounting is company accounts, buyback, ESOPs, amalgamation and reconstruction, consolidated financial statement, and keep accounting standard wise index. Keep with you accounting standard index, as well as what is the provision that has been told in accounting standard briefly in 1 to maximum 4 lines, what is there in the accounting standard, or the important areas that needs to be written, because that is the technical term that you need to write in your exam. If it is advanced accounting, if it is auditing, you need to mention that. Okay, so how this will help you score? Well, it will help you score in your numerical, that means in advanced accounting, where in the format that you need to write, and the accounting standard reference that you need to write for your assumption, as well as the working notes, you need to write that. The format of the statement will earn you the mark, even if the arithmetic calculation mistake, or the debit is not tallying with the credit. It doesn't matter in CA exams. How you write, what judgment you make, that is what the people or the examiner or the ICI wants. So it doesn't matter with arithmetic totaling mistake or anything, that is okay. Okay, so in this brief manner of time, when you write the exam, you should be just writing how you arrived at this answer, and the and the accounting standard and that reference to the marks or the assumption that you took, basically by that. And always rewind in all of the exam, the examiner, the question paper that has been set is always with two assumptions, either this way or that way. When you choose one of them, you have to write that there are two options and you should mention that assumption, and out of that I choose this option, and then you conclude the answer. This is how you show a professionalism when you write the answer. Please refer to that. It is just not that you study and go and write the answer, choose one option, and the institute will assume that you never knew that there is two option and why did you choose one option. You just hope that this answer is correct, and you come out of the exam hall thinking that you have written an answer and you hope you will score this much. No, my friends, it doesn't work that way. Remember it. Next is in group 1, corporate and other laws. In this, the highest yield is the Companies Act, meeting, share capital, audit and auditors, dividends, accounts, the NI Act, LLP, general clauses as mini modules. Now the mannerism in which the corporate law need to be answered is fact. You have to write the fact. The fact will be given in the question paper. You just need to summarize in 3 or 4 lines. Mention how will you summarize the fact in 3 or 4 lines? By referring to the section. You should understand in the section and what does that section say. When you know that, when you have studied that, because in the corporate law you should always be building an index which is section, and in that section what is the technical term that refers to. So you know that for this technical term this section would apply, then in that case you know the fact will be always around this. So write your fact around that section, how it has been brought, and that has been mentioned in the question paper. So you write the section, what is the provision that says, and how this provision is applying to the fact, that is the analysis, and finally the conclusion, and give a judgment. Basically your judgment would give you the final conclusion of answer. Now when your section is not quoted, then there is no marks. Always quote the number, but in case you don't know the answer of you don't know the question, the section number, do not mention the question number. Yes, there is no marks for that section, but quote the number and try to write the answer, because if you don't write the question number, the mark is only directed for that question, the section number, but for other steps what you have brought in, you will get the marks. Remember that if you quote a wrong section and then you explain the marks, then because of wrong section, the entire question will not be checked, the entire answer will not be checked, and it will be marked as 0. So remember, no section number, no marks, only for that section thing, but partial marks you will get it. Now the next part is taxation. Now in taxation there is income tax and GST. So in income tax, the very most important thing is PGBP, the profits and gains of business and profession. Then comes capital gains first. Then in GST you have the place of supply, ITC section, and this is been tested in every paper. Now PGBP is a heavy thing. Now for PGBP, the first and foremost thing, even though it is the last day of revision, what you have to revise twice or thrice or 4 times is the index. You should have section number from the beginning till end of all of the PGBP, and you should know what does each of the provision says. As per the technical terms, you must have that. So whenever you try to attempt a question for PGBP, the manner in which your presentation would go is, I'm telling about the where you have to derive the total income or you derive the tax, then you should be writing, it's not a flowery presentation, it is just a section, just in a answer sheet you draw 2 lines for the amount where you're writing and 1 more line where you're quoting the working note, and you leave the maximum paper, and in the answer sheet you should be bringing up the working notes, and in the working notes you should be writing the section number for what is being asked for, and in that section number what does it mention, the law, the provision, you need to write that, the technical term, and then conclude based on this provision this is what you're doing, and refer to that section number into the answer paper. This should be done in a brief manner of 2 to 3 minutes for each of the section. So each of the adjustment that you're doing, just 2 minutes you have to give. Quickly write what is the section, what is the provision, as per the provision what you decide to do, that's it, and just mention it in the answer paper and quickly move ahead. Now this is about the practical question that I've referred, where both practical of PGBP, capital gain or GST as well, you need to do the same thing. Okay, the explanation of the working note need not be huge. It just needs to be the section number, what does the provision say, that is the technical term, and as per this provision what do you decide to conclude with this adjustment that has been asked in the question, you do that, and with that just 3-4 lines you just put the marking of the working note in the answer sheet. Next comes when it is a case study based question, then you have to write what is the fact, the same manner what we did for law question, fact, section number, analysis, and based on that, what is your opinion? This is very important. When you conclude the answer, you must write the opinion, that based on this, maybe you have two opinion. Maybe one, we can, if we choose this section, it can be done, but if this section doesn't apply because the case doesn't have the completeness, you have to write it, like you're visiting a doctor and they understands, like this can be treated in two manner. Option one is this, and this is how the conclusion will be. Option two is this, now this is how the conclusion would be. You should be writing your answer in that manner. Hope you have cleared, hope you understood this. Next is cost and management accounting. So marginal costing, standard costing, variance analysis, they have been in every paper, so you need to check on this, and ABC analysis. Now when we say about cost and management, for this also there should be a concept note, and for each of the adjustment in marginal costing and standard costing, you should be making a concept note where you identify how the working note should be you should be written, that you should write it down, as well as the concept, like in marginal costing these concept exist, you should be writing down that. And at the last, before you start your revision or your preparation of cost management accounting, you should be thoroughly understanding these conceptual notes twice, thrice. And the conceptual notes can be hardly of 5 to 6 pages for a cost management entirely for each of the topic. That is important topic, at least marginal costing, standard costing, variance analysis should have a concept notes. Even though for ABC analysis or the budget, what is the tricky part of the provision that needs to be followed. And it's not only about the concept note. Along with the concept notes, wherever you find, for each of the concept, you should refer to a question number, like in which question this concept is been applied, so that last day of revision you thoroughly follow those questions and revise only those topics. You need not revise the entire thing. Next is auditing and ethics. Now essay index, you should be having from 200 to 720, all of those written, and each of the index, what you must be writing is that what does the essay say, that technical term, that keywords you should write, and what is the auditor duty in that, you should also write that. So in last day of revision, this will be very helpful, where for each of the standard, okay, what is the essay that should be followed, and what is the auditor saying about that, you should be writing that. Then there is company audit. Then there is CARO 2020, risk and internal control. Ethics, which is new. These 5 fundamental principles and independence framework, you should be thoroughly understanding it. These are the pillars which will help you score marks. Rest is the presentation, how you are writing. Now this subject is very crucial, which is theory, and the mannerism, the presentation, how you write would help you stand out, fetching the marks. You should be writing in this manner. What is the issue that has been highlighted in the question, and what standard is applicable, and based on the standard, what is the standard saying, what is the technical term, what is the auditor's responsibility in this. Okay, so when you write the issue, how you understand the issue is by what has been said, how it has been said, who need to do, where it needs to be done. These 5 questions, like who, how, where, when, why. If you put this across your answer, you will be able to write down properly in this manner. But you will not be writing who, how, why. That is how you learn, and that is how you write the answer. But the format that you should, in the heading that will help you score, is issue, what is the standard, what is auditor's responsibility, what is the procedure that needs to be followed, and you should mark the essay number as well. And your conclusion on this is very important. Hope you understood till here. Next is finance management and strategic management. So for finance management, it is the NPV, IRR, weighted average, leverage, and working capital. This you should be giving 60% of your time for understanding this. Okay, so whenever you are starting preparing for taxation or FM and SM, where there is mix of both, try to complete the important part of both IT, both income tax and GST, and FM and SM. That means 60% of whatever is there for full, for both of this, you should be completing at first place. Hope you understood. For taxation, as that is income tax as well as GST, whatever 60% of the marks is there, you focus completely for both. You should not be doing like first in taxation I'll complete fully 100% and then I'll go for GST. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, for FM as well as SM, don't do that. Try to complete 60% of both FM as well as strategic management, and by using this framework. The SWOT analysis, PESTEL, Porter, PCG, you need to refer that. Now how it will score that, because this is numerical, so you should be having a format in which you are writing the format. When you practice only, you will get the format as a concept note. You should be writing, okay, this is the format I need to follow, this is the working note, this is the assumption. Apply the framework given to each of the scenario, and don't just define it. In each of the scenario, you should apply this framework of format, what is the working note, everything. Each of the small scenario, you need to put this the format across. Now the chapter weightage, I have already asked that this is the highest yield that you must score, but referring to institutes ICI, RTP and MTP, you should always referring to that, and if any changes is that you need to upgrade this yield. Okay, you need to add that subjects or topics to this yield, so that will help you score and stay on to, in the forefront. The fourth one is the cross subject radar. The examiner connects the subject inside one question, so you must also. I'll help you. How is it? So it's like these are the scenario. This is a quick referencer when you are going for your exam, last minute revision. When you are going, you should understand this. When the scenario shows there is a lease or rental, related party transaction, capital investment decision, GST, if it is supply or invoice, or a company's financial statement, or a partnership or LLP, or if there is a strategic scenario as well. So what you should be linking the provision, or what provision number you need to refer. And mark me, this is always asked in every question or every exam. So if it is a lease rental, try to write this provision. If it is a lease rental about question, you should write accounting standard 19, you should be writing section 30, and for the income tax purpose 43B, what is the impact of deductibility, you need to put that. And as per the Companies Act in the schedule 3, how is the presentation, that will help. So for lease rental, you have applied accounting standard 19, section 30, and section 30 is where you write the number, the charge, and 43B is the impact of deductibility of the income tax, and schedule 3 is the presentation in the notes to accounts as per law. You should be referring all of this. Mark my words, this will be very helpful to score in your exam. For a related party, it's 40A2 disallowance. This is always asked in PGBP. You write that. Or if it is an audit, if it is audit, so in income tax you only give 40A2. Related party of SA 550 need not be put. For law, you should write 188. That's it for law. But when you write for auditing, you can refer to 48.2. You can write SA. You have to write SA 550 as well as section 188 for law. So I'm just putting up. These are the cross provision that you need to apply in one shot. For capital investment, it is NPV, and in depreciation, section 32 of the Income Tax Act would apply here. And capitalization and accounting standard treatment, what should be done for a capital investment decision, that you must write. For a GST supply invoice, yes, the time of supply, section 13 and 12, place of supply, IGST, how does it work, that you must refer to. And for the input tax, what is the section? Section 16 is for input tax, and if there is any blocking to the input tax, then you should write about section 17.5. So what is the section number? 12, 13, and section 16 and 17.5 need to be mentioned in the GST supply question, and this is asked every time, so it is tested every time. You need to apply this provision at every place. Next is company's financial statement. You need to refer to CARO, you need to refer to schedule 3 and accounting standard. So I'll be sharing up this list as well with you on the Telegram and WhatsApp channel as a community. So you can join our community as a CA Catalyst official, where you will find this sheet for your revision, and as well as in the upcoming webinar of live webinar, we can touch upon this concept for the CA inter exams. Now coming back to the sheet of track A preparation. Now 3 phases, not one endless grind. Now you move a subject to next phase when the current one still holds. What does it mean is that in the phases you build 60% of the time that you give. You map, in the sense, in the beginning what we started, you map it, you map each of the subject's concept and everything. You build every subject, the skeleton, what is the provision, what are question being asked in that provision, how many times you revised, what is the challenges you faced. You can cover all of this. But when you cover the syllabus once and properly, you build this 60% of time goes in building this one. Okay, and when you finish this, this concept notes, your handwritten notes, or whatever this concept books, which will be hardly 4, 5, 6 pages or 5 pages maximum. When you finish this complete index per subject have, it will be a high yielding material to you. You have written answers over there itself. You understand which concept, which topic, what has been asked, what has been referred, how many times you revised, everything at one place. Believe me. And next, what you are applying, the next phase would be practicing this one, because when you see this, it is in your eye. This bird eye view or thing is it in your hand. Now you practice it. This is the next 25%. How do you practice? By referring to RTP, NTP, past papers, whatever is your understanding. Again, it will go pour into what you have built, the concept notes you put in that. Okay, error bank. What is the error bank? Same in the concept notes, there is a field where you write, okay, these are the errors that has been followed. I need to correct, I need to check in everything, because when you try to recall, memorize, you will understand that in your mark some error, and that error needs to be banged upon. Okay, and while solving full type topics, try to time it, like once, twice. You solve in your own way, take your time, but once it is done, you know it, then you try to time the answer by keeping a clock or watch, and then try to solve week by week and try to close it. Okay, try to close it in the time frame given. Practice will make you perfect. So in the final day of revision, which is the 15 percentage, 60%, 25% done, then it's the 15%, which is the last 3-4 weeks. Now it's 1 week. So full mock skeleton revision, full mocks. It is just a revision, skeleton revision of this index that you're doing. You need to, score, polish the format, because the concept note will have the format, how you need to write, what is the working note, what is the assumption, what is the conclusion, the facts, the issue, the section number, the analysis, and what is the conclusion and opinion. All of this need to be there in the concept notes. You visualize all of the things, you write mock group questions, and try to score above the buffer. Buffer in the sense, you just write the test, you will feel motivated and high, and this is how you target above the buffer. So day when you're actually sustained. Now skip the 14-hour hero day, because what I'm trying to say here is, once this is done in the last day or last week of the revision, you should not be sitting and studying for 14 hours. Okay, skip that. And consistency will beat instead of intensity, because consistently you have been studying through whole of the year, or for 6 months or 3 months. Okay, consistency will beat the intensity. Now you need not be intense. What you need to do is that, like, build the day from the focused blocks. For focused blocks, in the sense, you protect your sleep. You should be sleeping for 6 to 7 hours. Okay, and you should be walking enough. If you're preparing in a room, walk within the room. If you're going outside, walk in a garden, that is also okay, because this is very essential. That will help your body movement as well as your brain to function well. Mark my words. Now how you're going to block your time? Morning time completely, very very strictly, you should be referring to the 20-minute or 40 minutes maximum, the skeleton revision, index revision, conceptual notes revision for each of the topics that you are going to start study, or you're going to revise, or you're touching about any time. You need to revise this in the morning for first 40-50 minutes. The strongest subject, whatever is there, you start with that. Okay, new provision plus question on paper, you try to do it in the morning. So add a fourth deep block, whether as a working student, if you're going for a work also, if somebody is there. So while doing a full-time preparation, this is very important that every weekday you block this, and every weekday, continuously you prepare this concept notes and revise each day. And on the weekends where you sit heavily, this is for a shout out to all working students who is going for work and also preparing for the CA exams. On the weekends you go heavier by doing maximum sums and concept and everything. But this concept notes, once you have prepared, this will help you track things. Okay, now after morning preparation, you give your your usual routine, like questions and everything you solve by all 3 hours buffer. In the midday, you should pick a weaker subject. For weaker subject, what is the provision, what are question, that needs to be done. And you can, the walking which I said, you can be doing it in the morning or in the midday as well, because morning you have been focusing on the subjects. So in the midday you should be walking around, and this is real. And it will help you motivated, and the upcoming preparation or the later part of the day will be more fruitful when you start working. So in the evening time, you should be doing, because all of the studies, all of the provision concept has been done. Now you focus on the RTP, MTP, or past question papers. That is, and when you try to solve them, one of them you try to solve by a timed manner. You try to verify, fix the gaps, and wherever errors you are facing, write down that error in the concept notes part. Okay, I have been facing in this concept, I have been facing an error. Try to, when you try to bank a error, what is the benefit is that that this is the mistake, and every time when you refer to that, okay, this is the mistake, I need to focus on that, and try to, by the time you build a new mistake, write down that mistake as well, and try to focus again on that. So this everything along with the concept, whatever errors has been done would also be reminded, and you will try to stop that mistakes also. So always writing your when you're completely, for this is for the students who are doing a full-time preparation, not the last day of revision. At the end of the day, you should be learning the 5-line summary from what you have studied all of the day as a memory, and then stop it, and then go for your 6 hours or 7 to 8 hours sleep as a part of the method, not as a reward but as a part of the method. But some of the months, you go on full-fledged, you study for more hours, then 7 hours of sleep is good, or 6 hours of sleep should be there at least, should not be compromising on that. So sleep is where the brain would consolidate the memory. So cutting it, the retention, it will affect the retention. So it's like high weightage, for a high weightage chapter, after studying, to consolidate in very well, sleep is more important. Coming to the sixth part, the final lab. On the last day, this is very important for the students who is appearing for the final day of the revision. At the last stretch is won by revision discipline. The revision discipline, once, twice, thrice, three times revision is minimum you have to do. You will not be introducing any new topics or anything, because this is the protocol that you have to follow in every attempt. So when it is last 7 days or last 1 week, what do you do exactly? You only revise the index skeleton, no new chapters. Out of that index, what is the provision saying? What is the question that you need to refer? If there are maximum question, you try to solve minimum 3. So that means for every concept minimum 3 question you have to see. And you have to solve only one through your hand, so that you have that practice and your hands are ready to write. Okay, do follow that. One timed mock per group area, that means for a group that you are appearing, one timed mock, that means one mock paper you have to write for each of the group, or for each of the subject. Resolve your entire error bank. Whatever error you have marked, just try to look into that thoroughly. Look at the ICA MCQ papers, because there is no negative marking. You just try to attempt them all. How is the format and the section citing that you have to enter? Just focus all of this. So a day before each paper, now this was the last 7 days you have to do. Now for the exam day, that is 1.5 day of the day, what you will be doing is the index, no rereading of full chapters. You will be checking all of things what you did in the last 7 days. Just quickly go through those, because you have done a number of revision around 1 2 3 times. So this will help you pass through this very easily, swiftly. And you have to look at the pre-logistics like your admit card, your stationery, your calculator, and then follow to a sleep routine of 7 to 8 hours. And you should know that 2 to 5 you are very active, so you should not be preparing whole night. You should be just sleeping 7 to 8 hours, getting your proper sleep, and at 11 p.m. in the night you should be stopping your study, and you should be up by 7 o'clock in the morning or 7:30 in the morning for your uh, day when you're going for your exam. So the exam morning, what you do is that in the morning time, if anything is left out for the index that you need to see, you can have that light skeleton, high yielding areas only. And by 11:30 you should be winding up. Nothing you should be studying. Okay, no panic learning at the gate. Okay, just be calm, because everything what you learn is consolidated and it is there in your brain. So first 15 minutes in the hall is that reading time. Mark the MCQs, mark the MCQs, no cold, everything what you just mark that. And plan the order. Okay, plan the order that you're going to give. In for the descriptive, that is 70% marks. 30% for MCQ what you're going to do. Whatever just okay, this I'm going to appear first, you just mark it, that's it. Mark it. You're not giving the answer, because you got only the question paper now. For the descriptive question answers, you mark the strongest order. Question number 1, which one you will going to appear. That means, believe me, when you get a question paper, how ICI decides is that the 80% of answer paper you will be able to write, and rest 20% marks you will not be able to write unless you snatch it to write it. So you always should believe that you should be writing 100% marks. But when institute is say prepared, set the paper where you will be able to write for 80% marks, what you should do is that you should mark your 80% marks question that you will be able to write smoothly, and with all of your knowledge of question, presentation, marking, keywords, the best one you should be choosing there and writing it for the 80% of the question, the answers that you should be giving to. And for the 20% you will be writing the average answer very quickly, so that out of the 20% of the marks that is tough and lengthy, you should be earning marks through your presentation and steps, or the format that you're going to score. Believe me, you will be earning stepwise marking partial answers instead of not appearing it and leaving it blank. Okay, leaving it entirely, you will be scoring marks. So for through your paper, for every 1.8 minute per mark, this is just maximum of 2 minutes round off for each of the marks. So that is the speed that you have to write the adjustment and the working notes for each of the question. Okay, attempt every question and every MCQ. Step marks would be there, as I said. Make a half answer beat a blank. That means if you're going for a blank, you will not get any mark, 0. You write a half answer with the cited section, the format, present it in a very clean market. Keep 60 seconds for the final scan. That means whenever for each question or each topic or each adjustment that you write, just a 60-second scan for a question, or the question that you have written, just 60-second scan, what is it, that's it, and move ahead. Then comes turn mock into marks. Now this is the final thing that you need to know. Taking mock papers like RTP, MTP, it isn't the thing that you have to focus here is you diagnosing them isn't the point. Okay, so that means when you write an RTP or NTP, what you're trying to do is you're diagnosing them, how it looks like, what is it, what is the preparation level. You should not be criticizing yourself or going negative. So people don't go for RTP, MTP mock test papers because they feel very negative about it. No, 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 don't do that. Taking mock isn't the point. You start to diagnosing them is what you have to do. For every mark that you lost, or for tag it into the concept wherever you have missed it, and you should give a fixing time for it, revising it, or for memorize it. This is the thing that you have to do it. So for the lost mark bucket, when you are writing a mock answer or a mock test, what you should do is that it would be either you didn't know about it at all. That is the new learning. You should put it in your knowledge gap, try to build that provision, understand it, log into the error bank, the concept notes you should be logging in. Sometimes the issue would be you know it, but you interpreted it. You didn't know it, misinterpreted it. Okay, you know that concept, but misinterpreted. This doesn't apply, something else applies. This is very common. This will always happen. The fastest way to fix is that try to apply the score. That is, you try to understand what is the point, what is the section, what is the format, what is the working note. Try to learn in this format. You will be understanding, okay, if this method of studying will help you interpret each of the section in right manner. What is the concept, what is the section, what is the format, what is the working note you need to apply. Then you will be understanding instead of misinterpreting it. Okay. Then the lost bucket is the lost mark could be because of some silly arithmetic error. So slow down the first line of each of the computation. Whenever you're trying to do a computation or arithmetic error, it doesn't matter actually arithmetic error, but if you just focus the first line of computation before writing it, just a 1 second focus, label the working notes correctly, marking, verifying the total in the final scan, that's it. Because you should not be in a hurry to make a total right with the calculator and then missed out and again you cut and cross and everything. Don't write that. Whatever right or wrong, whatever final arithmetic value you write, you should write in a legible manner. That's it. Okay, this is how you can fix it. Last is you run out of time and there is 2 questions still to be solved, which is of 16 or 20 marks total. So the time budget discipline at the very beginning is that 1.8 minute for single mark. Now that is very easy to calculate and deriving it, but I'll give you a practical way how to look at things. When it is 100 marks, so you know that 70 marks is for descriptive, 30 marks is for MCQ. So where will you start with? Where will you start with is first is MCQ. Okay, fresh, your mind is calm. From out of that 30 marks, what you have marked already is the cool. Whatever is simple, straightforward, whatever you just mark it immediately. Complete. Next is in the one reading which you are not getting the answer, try to read once, twice, thrice. After 3 reading you are not getting, skip it. If in 3 reading you are getting it, mark it. Done. Then after 3 reading you are not getting it, then you should skip it for the last. Now you should look at the time. For MCQ, the time that you have to allocate is just 40 minutes. Believe me, it is 50 minutes, but try to do all of this in 40 minutes, because the 10 minutes is where the remaining MCQs which you have left out, you might need to write it. So leave that for the last. Now come to the descriptive part which is 70 marks. Now after 70 marks, what you have marked is the best 80% of marks that you can fetch out of these questions. You have marked it already, the best one. You write all of this, and the remaining 20% which you do not know, it is for the last. Now you have some 20% which is left for the descriptive. Also for the MCQ, there is something is left. Now you have to decide, should I go for the MCQs or should I go for the descriptive? The best way is go for the descriptive. Try to write the average answer for each of the answer and complete it, and then go to, because for the stepwise marking also you will get the marks. Then go for the MCQ, mark all the MCQs, complete it with once, twice or thrice reading again, and select one. And at the last 5 minutes, what you need to do is that just scan through all of the answer paper and do the underlining of the keywords, conclusion, double line recommendation, conclusion, and finish the paper. So practice this, and even briefly if you're practicing to do this, you will be able to complete your exam paper instead of running out of time. So the one line that you need to remember is, inter is where most of the CA journey stall. Not because students knew too little, it is not about the knowledge or their understanding, but because they scored too little of what they knew. Whatever knowledge you have is immense, but how you're scoring out of this is too little. So you have to build the skeleton, the index, the concept notes. Remember, that is the weightage, or that is the very important lesson out of this. And solve after every provision, every concept, every adjustment that you have understood. Solve that provision, every answer on the paper, and present it for the marks. And those who are for the full preparation of CA Inter, show up this every day. This is the manner you do your preparation for CA Inter, and this is how will help you clear about the buffer. Okay, so I believe that this is this is more than valuable that you have got from this channel for your CA Inter preparation. So this is how it is getting marked and getting evaluated, how the marks are moderated, and how the presentation becomes marks, and that will help clear you. Okay, now this sheet would be available in the the WhatsApp community as well as in the Telegram community. So this will help you for your upcoming exams as well as for your preparation. So if you find this valuable, and I understood that this is more than valuable, do hit the subscribe button, also do hit a like button, and try to share it with your other students, and try to share the video as well, because I have explained it thoroughly about how you have to do the preparation. And if there are any question, please leave it in the community channel, your questions. I'll try to answer all of those, as well as in the YouTube comments also. You can mention your comments or your questions relating to this. I'll try to answer those questions. And hope you clear this time in 2026. And this planner you can always follow for 2026 and upcoming years as well, because this is how the institute is following with things. And this is a one-time thing which you can refer to and start with your preparation. So if you have liked this, please do subscribe the channel, as well as do the like button, and share it with maximum of your friends who is appearing for the CA Inter exams. So until then, this is Amit signing off from the channel CA Catalyst. Till the time, stay consistent, stay growing. All the best for your exams.